All right. Welcome, internet friends and neighbors. It's Liam Chase here with the Crypto Convo. And we're going to be talking about some juicy reports that have come out today and throughout the last week. But I think the big headline being the Ava Labs controversy, the expose that was recently published from cryptoleaks.info, which already starting there is a very peculiar, interesting source for this information. But before we get into the actual juicy details, the tea, as they call it in the mainstream culture, let's just go over what's going on with the crypto market. So surprisingly, everything is pumping quite nicely. I was going to check CNBC. Usually there's a big headline. No, actually, and this is what I saw earlier, but the market is actually doing not so hot. I mean, it's not up today. So typically, crypto markets aren't going up when the stock market is going down. They've been a lot more correlated in recent times. But that's really interesting that we are seeing this massive, I would say it's pretty massive rally. I mean, 3% on Bitcoin, 3.5% on Bitcoin, almost 7% on Ethereum. Optimism, Matic, those two. Let's see what else is on the watch list. Yeah, how's Cardano? Where's Cardano? Cardano's up 4%. Polkadot's up 5%. Phantom's up 5%. Atom's up 6%. Matic's up 3.5%. Ava Labs, Avalanche up less than 3%. Near's up almost 6%. So I mean, it's a solid green day for crypto. Doesn't seem like there's any macro events that are really causing this, or anything that you can point to exactly that would be causing this. My cat is freaking out over here. But yeah, so let's see. I've had this area is back from February of 2021 for ETH. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin, I mean, this area is from back in December, and that's really the all-time high of 2017. So we are bouncing somewhat off of that area. We got this pink line from earlier in the year, June, just a couple of months back. This seems to be a hot area, but just this whole area seems to be pretty hot with action. So we're getting a nice bounce off here. We got a false breakthrough. Let's see if we'll close the day above this pink line. You know, this pink line of support, it's nothing significant, just one that I drew from earlier. But we do seem to be having a lot of action between, these three pink lines right here. Obviously, you can see resistance, broke through, got it back up to here, resistance, broke through a little bit, got pushed back down. And then as you can see, it, created resistance again here and fell through here a little bit, and now it's pushing back up. So, and this top pink line is actually, just a little bit of congestion here from December of 2020, which that's interesting. So moving on though to the crypto Ava Labs controversial report. We had a report from Crypto Leaks come out, and I will tell you, just reading this headline, Ava Labs Avalanche attacks Solana and cons SEC and evil conspiracy with bot law firm Roche Friedman. That is a very, if you want to talk about unbiased reporting, that is the complete opposite of unbiased reporting. So, I mean, just the title alone gives you red flags and makes you skeptical. But let's talk about the source, Crypto Leaks. They've only ever published 3 reports, and two of them were about ICP, right? So, and this was June. They've only published 3 reports. 2 of them came out on the same day. 2 of them talked about ICP, attacks on ICP. And then we get a third one here talking about Ava Labs and how they're attacking Solana, this, that, and the other thing. So, just starting off, the source of this reporting is very questionable. Not saying that they're wrong or they're, what they're reporting on isn't true, but they just don't have a track record of reporting accurately because they're so young. So that's obviously questionable. But when you get into here, Ava Labs, Avalanche, they basically talk about how one of the founders of Avalanche Labs, is basically been in bed with this lawyer, Kyle Roche. Let's see. And, I went through and I watched all the videos. I read most of it. And I think that this honestly brings up more questions than answers, if anything. And also, let me check here. Let's see. I'm going to move this over. I'm going to move that over here just so it looks like I'm looking more at the camera for you guys. I'm not exactly sure where. Yeah. Okay. So going back into the report, and my cat is scratching up my chair. He's going crazy. I don't know what's wrong with him. But I pretty much watched all the videos. And like I said, it brings up more questions than answers. I think the biggest question that comes to my mind as being left side Liam is, what's a lawyer like this doing talking about something that you would want to keep so low key in what seems to be a very large public lobby? I mean, this doesn't look like, maybe it's a house, but and then they're blurring other stuff out here. And I'm not a professional examiner by any means, but this doesn't exactly look like a home to me. It could be, but it looks like there's some sort of elevator there. It looks like public lobby or something, like almost like a hotel. Even right here, there's some sort of banner in the background. It's very interesting. I know that's not really the point of this, but that's kind of my first question. Like, why is this lawyer talking about something so nefarious, or what? It's not necessarily nefarious. It's within the legal confines of the system. They're basically what they're basically doing here is accusing this lawyer and Avalanche Labs, Ava Labs, of being in some sort of secret contract together. And they're basically using this lawyer to litigate other crypto projects in order to get access to, confidential information and communications between other crypto firms. So, but the second point of the second big question of this is, so what? Sure, is this guy really a lawyer? Probably. But like, what evidence is there that actually proves what he's saying is true? The only thing that they really provide sources to is the fact that the class action lawsuit was filed by this guy against Solana, but that doesn't necessarily connect it to Ava Labs. So, and he's definitely talking about things, but again, there's no hard evidence of what this guy is saying being connected to Ava Labs. Now, I'm not saying that what he's saying is wrong. It could be true, but at this point, without enough information, like, I'm just very skeptical. And that's one of my mottos of, especially within crypto, is like, you got to stay skeptical. Stay skeptical. Stay skeptical, not anything else. So there's just really no evidence of what the fact that he's saying has any connection to Emin Gun Sirer. And that's kind of my biggest takeaway. So I will basically have to see how this develops, how this plays out. Because he's, he could be a lawyer talking out of his ass. He could be hired by somebody else he could be hired by another crypto firm to talk crap about Ava Labs, to cause this controversy, to basically get done to Ava Labs what he's talking about Ava Labs is doing to other people. So, yeah. And, just, so it's very wishy-washy. There's just it's all up in the air. And then there's multiple videos of him talking with the same guy. This guy's actually asking very pointed questions. The voice is very altered. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. Avalanche has definitely took a hit earlier, although it's recovering now. It did dip all the way down to $17, while everything has pretty much just been pumping, going straight up on the day, right? There's no wicks on a lot of stuff, but there's a pretty big wick on Avalanche. So, and then also this has been affecting Ripple. There was a Ripple because basically this report talks about Brad Garlinghouse being involved with this. He basically saying that the report's basically saying Brad Garlinghouse, which is one of the founders of Ripple, which utilizes the XRP ledger and technology. Basically, this report expose accuses Brad Garlinghouse of actually being one of the first funders of this, nefarious litigation finance specializing law firm. But he's come out and said, can't comment on the validity of the slew of allegations, but I can't unequivocally say that I have never met or spoken to, much less invested in, Kyle Roche. So, considering everything that Ripple's going through, I mean, can you expect him? Is this unexpected to be said of him? Unlikely. But like I said, when you just look at all the facts, like, I don't think there's anything like really solid. There's no solid evidence here of anything. Like, I could record these videos saying, granted, this guy is really a lawyer, but like I said, who's to say he's not hired by some alternative crypto project and they're actually doing 4D chess and they're creating this stuff to go against Avalanche Labs. But we'll have to see how this all unfolds because, there's nothing really there's no real hard evidence here. And, obviously the founder of Ava Labs is denying this. He said, let's see. He said, how could anyone believe something so ridiculous as the conspiracy theory nonsense on crypto leaks? We would never engage in the unlawful, unethical, and just plain wrong behavior claimed in these self-serving videos and inflammatory article. Our tech and team speak for themselves. Now, one thing a lot of people are saying is that all he's doing, he's not proving that anything that was said here is not true. I mean, he just kind of makes a blanket statement here. But there's no counter evidence. There's nothing to prove that what was said in the videos is wrong. So this is obviously still a young and developing story, but, it's not looking good from this guy, from Emin Gun Sir either. Maybe that's because he just, like I said earlier, maybe he brushes it off because there's not really a lot of hard evidence. Maybe he's just not too concerned about what's going on. Markets seem to be bouncing back for Avalanche after being down considerably. So, I mean, controversial, but we'll have to see how this plays out over the next couple of days, weeks, months. My initial reaction and my initial prediction here is that could it ultimately develop into something more menacing and more frivolous? Sure. But, likelihood of that happening, I'd probably say it's like an 80 to 20%, like 80%, like this is just going to get swept under the rug and forgotten about in 3, 6, 12 months, 20% likelihood that this develops into something bigger than that. So we'll just have to see how it plays out ultimately. But I wanted to also share some really interesting news that I saw earlier this week. A couple of pieces. Let's see. Tom Emmer, crypto. Because it's nice to see that it's nice to see an American politician standing up for crypto and for privacy at the end of the day. Because it's what's needed. Like, the only way for crypto to get true adoption is for it to be represented legally politically and legally within our framework, our legal framework. And the only way that mass adoption of crypto is going to happen is via regulation. Whether we like that or not, there's going to have to be regulation. There's going to have to be guardrails. There's going to have to be rules of the land. And I'm sure there will exist a part where it's more like the wild, wild west. I mean, you're always going to have the black markets per se of really anything. Anything that gets made into law, there's usually a black market, a wild, wild west of said industry in most cases. So, but it's nice to see let me see, where'd it go? Crypto privacy. Basically said privacy is expected. Tom Emmer wants answers about Tornado Cash. So, and for those of you that don't know, Tornado Cash is a smart contract based application on Ethereum. And basically, what it does is it makes the origins of the funds that you're moving unknown. So imagine like you have a jar and 1,000 people put $1 into it. Well, everybody has the ability to take $1 out, except for if I take your dollar and you take my dollar. Like we don't. The way it works is that the origin sources of that dollar cannot be tracked. Like it, because it gets mixed up with other people's, right? And so when it gets mixed up with other people's, that basically puts a dead end on tracking the history of that specific dollar, or in this case, specific crypto asset. And so Tornado Cash was banned, or it was sanctioned by the Treasury, OFAC, which is basically the people that have banned people like Cuba and Iran and North Korea. All the bad countries are basically on the list. So they pretty much put this smart contract on the list. And politician Tom Emmer was asking for clarification on, first of all, why this is happening, where's the due process, right? Because it's actually reported that most of the people, like 80% of the people using this smart contract, they have no link to anything nefarious, and they are American citizens. And so there's basically no due process. And how would people that don't have any nefarious motives for using this application, other than just wanting privacy, which is standard, which is, as he said, is normal, right? That's what transacting in dollars does. Like whenever you pay in cash, it's not traceable because that dollar can't be tracked back to you. That's why certain people do like to transact in cash. So yeah, I mean, how are we able to have privacy in an analog and real world setting? But he's basically saying, why are we not able to have that same privacy in a digital setting? Which is what, although crypto is pseudo anonymous, like there are aspects of privacy, and he's basically saying, like, shouldn't we have this same privacy in a digital setting? And then also talks about, like what are the actions and steps that people who have been using this application in an unnefariously or a non-nefarious motivation, what are the steps they have to take? And then also, what does this just mean for crypto in general? Because he basically talks about the fact that people that are on the list are organizations, individuals, countries, etc. And, pieces of code, written code, where does that fall into persons, organizations, or countries? Like he's basically looking for clarification. Okay, we're going to start treating smart contracts like they don't really fall, words written on a computer, words written on a piece of paper. How does that fall under, any of the classifications of the people and entities that are on this list? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize with crypto is, like, legally speaking, there's a lot of shifting happening. I mean, there was a report a couple of weeks ago. The English, let me find it here. Wales and England crypto report. I mean, they're literally, they're proposing, this was earlier this month, they're literally proposing changing the laws around property. I mean, this is absolutely groundbreaking stuff. And so there's a lot going on underneath the veil, like that casual investors and people that aren't really into the crypto space won't ever know about until much later on. But I mean, this is absolutely insane. I mean, England, they had one of the longest lasting empires of the globe. They obviously still have a major influence on global activity, and they're proposing recognizing crypto as an entirely new type of property. And as far as, like, when's the last time a new type of property was established? I think the last time new pieces of property were established was like at the founding of the entire empire and like the founding of entire civilization. So, I mean, we literally have civilization shifting things happening with crypto. And a lot of people just aren't aware of that because they are just casual investors. They just want to see token go up, go down, this, that, and the other thing. But I mean, it's literally going to shift the landscape of everything under our feet before we know it. And things like this are evidence of that. Things like this are evidence of that. There's clarifications, there's regulations, like all these things that are being developed as we speak. That this, when it all comes together, and much like the internet did in the late 2000s, early 2000s, going into 2010s. Because if you think like Facebook, Amazon, Google, all of these things, yes, they were around, but they didn't really take hold until mobile phones, and mobile phones started getting big in 09, 2010, 2011. I feel like those 3 years are really when, mobile and applications and, all those big FANGs companies that we know about today, that's when they really started gaining their momentum. Yes, some of them are around longer than that, but that's when they really started gaining momentum as these tech giants that they have become. So yeah, we're basically seeing all that be developed. As far as the Ava Labs things, like I said, it's just, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of videos, but what does it really mean? And the credibility of this source, I mean, just the title alone is a red flag. Like, it definitely makes you skeptical of, okay, what's their true intentions here? Are they trying to really report on an unbiased story, or are they just looking to get attention? And I mean, come on, evil conspiracy with broad law firm. Interesting stuff. So we'll see how it develops. But I think that's about all for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Crypto Convo. Can't say when I'll be back. I'll work on I definitely want to start getting more consistent with my video content. So definitely a goal is to start doing this on a daily. It's just that for me personally, like, I'm a long-term crypto investor, and so I'm not always engaged in the day-to-day of crypto. I mean, I am to a degree, but I don't always have something to say. I think, just the basic concepts of crypto. Like, there's so many people that just don't understand the basic concepts of crypto. So, and that's what I really like to do is onboard people into the crypto ecosystem and crypto economy. Because it's not until you're onboarded into the economy can you really understand what's actually going on. Like, you're not going to like most people watching this, especially on Facebook or, non-YouTube platforms, probably if you're not already pretty deep into crypto, you're probably not going to understand a lot of this stuff. And so you have to definitely get over that wall or I have to call it the veil. Like, you have to get on the inside of the veil. And the only way that you'll get inside the veil is just taking the time to learn, read, and study on your own. I do consulting, but even my clients, they're not necessarily doing all the watching, reading, and learning that I am. I mean, they pay me to essentially help them with that stuff, but they don't have the true in-depth understanding of them themselves. So the only way that you're really going to understand what's going on here with a lot of this stuff is truly sitting down, taking the time to learn and understand. But anyways, guys, I'll work on going live more often. It's definitely a direction I want to go with my brand in general. And other than that, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.